Joining us now to speak about all this, retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Kevin Ryan. He was a former defense attaché in Moscow, senior fellow now at the Harvard Belfer Center. Good to have you on, sir. You, like other military analysts that we speak to on this program, not all of them, but some of them have said that there are signs that Russia's military is stretched out thin, struggling to achieve its goals, stalled to some degree. I wonder, is that reversible? And could Chinese military assistance be the key, perhaps, to reversing that for the Russian army?
Well, I think requesting the materials and the assistance from China is an indication that, yes, they are in trouble, the Russian military in trouble, and it could prolong the war or prolong the Russian operation in Ukraine if China were to give complete or a large amount of assistance. You know, we would expect that if Russia's having trouble in this war in Ukraine, you would see large Russian units moving from elsewhere in Russia to the Ukrainian theater. This is what they did before the war to give themselves troops. So where are these units now? Well, they're simply not available. Russia's out of available combat forces to put into this fight. So they're turning to foreign fighters and Chechens and mercenary groups like Wagner.
Yeah, remarkable.
We've heard a lot about how Russia may have miscalculated here, right? Certainly didn't plan on this fierce resistance that they're seeing in Ukraine. We're also seeing Ukraine's military, cut them off in a number of different ways. And I just want to get, I know you've had a chance to look at it. I'm wondering if you could talk us through what you're seeing in this video specifically. So we have this drone video, Ukrainian drones taking out Russian tanks hidden there in the trees. How significant is that? And how much more do you think this may be happening?
Well, this video is even more complex than drones finding vehicles and shooting them. This is a drone that is targeting, finding the target, finding the location. And then it's hard to tell with this video, but I counted at least 20 impacts or explosions. So this is an artillery barrage coming from another location. So you've got a surveillance drone telling an artillery unit where the targets are, and they're working in tandem. So this is a very complex and it shows a lot of training on the Ukrainian part.
General Ryan, you have said you do not believe that Putin will use chemical weapons because of the likely Western response. We spoke to a member of the Ukrainian parliament last hour who expressed his concern that if Putin were in effect cornered, backed up against a wall, facing defeat, that the calculus changes. I want to play his comments and get your reaction.
We should always remember Hitler. His last days in bunker were also about Wunderwaffe, a miracle weapon to change the world and to destroy the world. I hope and I believe that Putin will not be able to push the red button during the last days in his bunker.
Now he's not the only one to say that if cornered, Putin might consider those outlier options. And I wonder whether for chemical weapons or even possible tactical nuclear weapons, battlefield nukes, do you share that concern?
Yeah, I share the concern, but I think maybe Hitler is an instructive example. Hitler didn't use them. He didn't, and even up until the last moment, didn't use them. Putin and his government have said they would use weapons of mass destruction, nuclear and chemical, well, not chemical, but nuclear, if the regime's survival was at stake. And I don't think we're there yet.
Before we let you go, former DNI James Clapper said at some point we're going to have a confrontation with Russia, that it is not a question of if, it is a question of when. Do you agree?
I agree completely. You know, this is a war with NATO. Russia sees itself as at war with NATO, and the battle in Ukraine is only a phase of that. So the United States and NATO, I think, need to figure out when and how they're going to engage in this conflict with Russia. Apparently, we don't want to do it right now, but I think we should begin to have a presence in Ukraine.